it's not the funeral directors that are the problem. It's that we send our bodies somewhere else, somebody takes care of them, somebody takes them away, and we never see them again, and we can kind of pretend that it hasn't happened. And I probably all heard me say this, but I took my mom's pulse probably 100 times after she died. I just kept taking it. She started foaming at the mouth and doing all the things that you do after you die, and I was still taking her pulse. Had I had her home for 3 days, that shock factor wears off. You realize they're dead. But we did an autopsy on my father, and I remember I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd be like, I really hope he was dead before they like started chopping him up into, opening him up. And of course he was dead. And then I had this moment where I'm like, well, if he wasn't, he is now, and then it was just all those weird things that your brain will tell you. A positive death experience helps grievers go into grieving better. And that's the beauty of, home funerals, when people talk about home funerals and how bodies stay at home for 3 days. People don't want to pay $20,000 to bury their loved one in a big expensive casket anymore.
And we had one guitar, and we just chanted our hearts out loud for about an hour. And it was so wonderful, and it's so unusual of a way that we recognize the spirit passing that way. And I think I figured out why I'm afraid of it. That's the wrong word, not afraid, interest. Why I'm interested in it so much is I think I'm afraid of having to become a caregiver.
Myself and each of my 6 children have been suicidal at one point or another. All of us, we've all been depressed, and we're just kind of artistic family. We have that temperament, and death is definitely fascinating and very present.
Yeah, very present for you, right? Yeah. I'm super.
I spend my working hours in hospice, in neonatal intensive care, in funeral homes, at cemeteries, in oncology wards while kids are receiving treatment. Just every grim, dire, worst day of my life circumstance you can think of, I photograph those. And I do that so that I can show families that no matter how hard things are in that moment, that there's beauty in the connection that they have with each other. There's all the hugging and the squeezing and the crying and the laughing and the stories. You want to have this because even if you never look at these pictures, your kids will want to look at these pictures. Your grandchildren will want to look at these pictures. They want to understand where they come from, what kinds of things their families have experienced.
I don't know what's going to happen to me. Growing up, I was the good little Christian boy, right? And I was the youth leader for my school or my church when I was in high school, because we didn't have a youth leader, and I was very firm and positive. This is what happens, and I'm not as positive now. I mean, I certainly believe there's a heaven and a hell, but I don't think it's fair to judge somebody's belief system as right or wrong because it doesn't fit what works for us, because it's what works for them.
And it's a green burial ground that I learned about through my nuts and bolts curiosity about death. I expected to go away from that wanting to be buried there. That's what I thought would happen. Gorgeous rolling hills, breeze in the trees, stunning nature, perfect. But I didn't. My husband's like, I'm not driving to Goldendale. Goldendale, Washington is beautiful and stunning, but it has no heart and soul for me personally.
And this was a guy who had been a professional baseball player. And so they decided to put a 7th inning stretch in the service. He's looking out into this chapel and he's seeing people laughing and crying and smiling and relaxing, like they're settling into this experience, and they're thinking, this is the way that this was supposed to be, and I never even thought that a service could be like this.